Ladies and gents, welcome back to telesplashgaming, and today I'm talking about ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove, a game that had a pretty quiet release over the weekend. But if you're like me, you've been paying attention to it, and I have been waiting for its release, hoping that it could live up to the original standard that the first game set. So, does it live up to the hype? What are my first impressions? Stick around, let's dive into it. So the original ToeJam and Earl was a cult classic. It came out, didn't sell amazingly well, but it was a fun roguelike game, kind of one of the original roguelike games. It is a top-down isometric view. You have two aliens, ToeJam and Earl. One's got a backwards baseball cap, skinny, multiple limbs. The other one's kind of overweight, funny, high-top sneakers. They have this funky kind of, music about them. They have a fun attitude, humorous, kind of a satire on the, humans if you were an alien coming in to see Earth. And what they did is they have a spaceship that crashed landed on Earth, and you have to go through these different levels, and you got to find parts of your spaceship. You get presents, unlockables. They give you power-ups. You run into different characters. They either help you or hinder you. So it's just a fun game that's a really great way to play co-op for sure. Well, even though it didn't sell particularly well, a sequel was made called ToeJam and Earl 2 Panic and Funkatron. And this game takes place on their home planet. After they've gone from Earth, gone home, they realize they have some earthly stowaways who are wreaking havoc. So you take the first game, which had a really cool premise, one of the originals, and when you make a sequel, what do? You build upon the good stuff, right? Well, not in this case. They took the whole game and redid it and made a completely different game with the same name. It was still a ToeJam and Earl game, but it was nothing like the original game that was so popular and became such a cult classic. Now, let's be honest, it actually did get pretty good reviews. It was praised for their visuals and their sound, and it actually had decent gameplay. But when you play a game, let's say you play Call of Duty, and you love Call of Duty. So Call of Duty 2 comes out, and you're expecting a first-person shooter, and no, you have a third-person platformer. That's kind of what happened with this game. You went from one game that was successful, and they played a whole new game that was nothing like the original, other than the characters and the name. And that was it. So ToeJam and Earl 2 is a side-scrolling platform game with up to 2 players. So the co-op experience is still there, but it's a side-scrolling game. You're going around, you're finding these Earthlings, and you have to find all the Earthlings to move on to the next level. You can collect presents containing various bonuses, kind of similar as the first one. You have super jars, radar scans, teleporting moves, a bunch of different stuff. You get coins that can be used with parking meters to trigger events in the environments, and there's also mini games. So it had some new stuff, but it was a far departure from what made it popular, and fans let them know that. ToeJam and Earl 3 Mission to Earth is the third game in the series, and this one revolves around ToeJam and Earl and a new character named Letitia traveling to Earth to collect the 12 sacred albums of funk. The game has randomly generated levels, kind of like the original. They're connected by hubs. There are power-ups. There is, co-op like the original and the sequel, so it kind of combined elements of the original game and the sequel, and it made a newer 3D version of ToeJam and Earl that had hints of the past, but was still a far departure from what actually made the first one a cult classic. Whew. So finally we get ToeJam and Earl back in the groove. What do I think? Well, I think it is a remake of the original game. Even though it may be the fourth in the series, it is truly a remake of the first game. It's the same story. Your spaceship crash lands on Earth. You gotta find the 10 pieces scattered throughout 25 levels, and you can do it with up to 4 players cooperatively, which makes it really cool. You can do it co-op local, or you can do it online, and there's 9 playable characters, 2 ToeJams and 2 Earls. You have the retro ToeJam and the retro Earl, which is really cool. And that's how the game starts. You hear some great music, a quick little storyline, and boom, you're popping up like Bill and Ted coming through the phone booth or the elevator, and you are in the land. And you know what? They also offer a tutorial, and that's what I did. I did the first, part of the game as a tutorial because it's 12 levels, and it really just kind of gets you a feel for what ToeJam and Earl is all about. So if you haven't played the original, you don't need to. This literally, I feel like, is the original game with a fresh coat of HD paint. Great soundtrack, great visuals, and it's fun. So that's the initial quick little impression if you're wondering what I think about it. With that being said, there's more to it than that. The visuals don't just include the way the grass looks and the trees, and the sound isn't just the effects, but it's the music. It's the people that you see. There's good, NPCs, there's bad NPCs, and you can't forget about the presents. The presents are what make ToeJam and Earl so fun, because you don't know if you're going to uncover something good or something bad. Maybe you're going to get tomatoes, maybe you're going to get a fart bomb, maybe you're going to get rocket skates, spring skates, you don't know until you open it. And then once you open it, you actually know what the present is, and it saves it kind of in your inventory and tells you what it is. But that's what makes it really fun, is you are in the middle of trying to get away from somebody, and you have a present, so you push it, hoping you're getting rocket skates, and next thing you know, you're confused, and you're walking, you press up and you're going down, you press right, you're going left, and you're getting flown off the edge, and you're crying because you're, 3 levels down, there's a shark in the water below you, and you're halfway across the map, and then you gotta walk back to the elevator, and there's a hula girl that's making you dance on the way through, so you're getting beat by another guy, and then you fall down another level, and that's when you start pulling your hair out, but then you realize, I'm having a good time. And that's kind of what ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove is all about. It's a fun game, it can be a little frustrating, but it's entertaining. The visuals are great, the sound effects are great, and it's one that I really recommend. So my first impressions are, I really enjoyed it. You're going around, you're collecting these power-ups, you're collecting cash, you're trying to find the exit, and you're trying to find parts to your ship. Like I said, the tutorial is like 12 levels, so it gets you, kind of into the game. It's pretty easy, and then you can bump up into the main game, which is 25 levels. They're a little bit larger, a little bit, harder, and it's the same story though. You're trying to find 10 pieces to your ship over the course of 25 levels. Not every level obviously has a piece to your ship, so if that's the case, you're just trying to go from one part of the level, find the elevator, go to the next part of the level to get up so you can get there. So it's fun, it's not terribly difficult, but there is frustrating moments. Like I said, the worst are those hula girls that just make you dance. That's all they do. They don't hurt you, but you're running away from somebody and the hula girl's sitting there and you just can't get far enough away, and you're dancing and you're getting beat by somebody, you're losing life. But that's what makes it fun. Aloha. I played it by myself, but I can't wait to get some buddies over here to give it a go. Replayability, is it a game that I'm going to play over and over? Probably not, but it's a great game that I feel like if you have your friends over, you can pop it in, and it's just a fun, like I said, the music's great, the sound effects are great, it's got some really good humor, and the visuals are good. It's just a quick, easy game that doesn't require a huge investment to get some enjoyment and some fun out of, and that's really where I think this stands. Especially at 20 bucks, the price point is perfect. If it was 40 or even 60, I might still get it because my nostalgia strings like this game, but if you've never played this game, I don't think you'd spend 60 bucks on ToeJam and Earl. But 20? That's a pretty good price. And I think that's one that people are going to pay, and especially when you can play online and co-op, and it's a great local co-op game especially. It's good for kids, good for adults, it's good for pretty much anybody that has a good sense of humor, likes power-ups, and just wants to have a fun experience with some cool, laughs in between. So that's kind of my first impression of ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove. It's a fun game, and it's really a remake of the original more than a sequel. So, I'm about an hour and a half in, I got the tutorial down, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper with some buddies into the main game, but so far, I really enjoy it, and I feel like it's a really good game for what it is. It's not going to blow the doors off the visual category if you've been playing some of these modern games like Anthem or Call of Duty, but it's got a really, really charming, bright, bubbly color, and again, I can't say it enough, the humor is fantastic. So guys, let me know what you think. Are you going to get ToeJam and Earl? Is it a game that even interests you? Take a look. I like it. I had a lot of fun playing it, and it's one that I believe has gotten some pretty good reviews so far from the couple that I've read, and I have to agree with them. It's a fun retro experience with the modern, updated visuals, fresh coat of paint, some great sound, great music, and really fun to play with someone else. So guys, thanks for watching. Keep trolling. Keep rolling. We'll talk to you soon.